Hello students, very good afternoon to all the students. So students, today we are going to start with a new topic, that is uses of good conductors of heat. So we are going to understand about the different uses of good conductor of heat. So the materials that are good conductors of heat are used whenever heat is to be transferred first. So students, whenever we need to transfer heat first, what we do? We use the different materials that are good conductor of heat. For example, cooking utensils are usually made of metals like the copper, aluminium and the alloys because they are good conductors of heat. So students, alloy means the brass and the stainless steel, okay? So what happened? Cooking utensils are usually made up of metals. Why? Because they are good conductor of heat, okay? So you see, these are the cooking utensils which are made up of metals. So now uses of bad conductors of heat. So first one is the insulating handles. So appliances like the cooking pan, pressure cooker, electric iron and the electric kettle have wooden or bakelite handles because these materials are bad conductor of heat. That is, they do not allow heat to pass through them quickly. Hence, the heat from the hot appliances does not flow to our hand. As a result, we are able to hold the appliances by their handles even when they are hot. So students, I hope you understood this. So why are cooking pan or the pressure cooker, they have bakelite handles? Why? Because these materials are bad conductor of heat. So this one or this handle, they are bad conductor of heat, because of which they do not allow heat to pass through them quickly, okay? So hence the heat from the heat appliances does not flow to our hand. So students, for that condition, we are able to hold the appliances by their handle even when they are hot, okay? So students, number 2 is a false ceilings. So false ceilings are generally made up of plaster of Paris, asbestos or the wooden plywood. So students, we all know that false ceilings are made up of plaster of Paris, asbestos or the wooden plywood. They provide a layer of air between the two ceilings that keep the room warm during winter and cool during summer. So students, this false ceiling, they provide a layer of air between the two ceilings, okay? So this one may be the layer of the air between the two ceilings. So they keep the room warm during the winter and cool during the summer, okay? So since the air in between the two ceilings is a bad conductor of heat, it prevents the transmission of heat from either sides. So students, the air that is present in between the two ceilings is a bad conductor of heat, okay? So it prevents the transmission of heat from either sides, okay? So for making roofs of houses, asbestos sheet are preferred over the iron sheet because asbestos is a bad conductor of heat. So as it is a bad conductor of heat, it will not allow the heat to enter inside, okay students? So we prefer asbestos in place of a iron sheet. So now moving on to number 3, that is woolen garments. So in winter, we wear woolen garments or woolen clothes. So students, we all know that during winter season, we prefer wearing woolen clothes. Wool is a bad conductor of heat. So students, wool is a bad conductor of heat. Moreover, the air gets trapped in between the woolen fibers. So students, the air also gets trapped in between the woolen fibers. Air is also a bad conductor of heat. Both air and the wool prevent the flow of heat from our body to the cool surrounding. So I hope you understood why do we prefer wearing woolen clothes in winter? Because both the wool and the air is a bad conductor of heat. Since both are bad conductor of heat, they will prevent the flow of heat from our body to the surrounding, okay? They also prevent the flow of cool air from surrounding to our body, so we feel warm. So since they are bad conductor of heat, they also prevent the flow of cold air from outside the surrounding to our body. So for that reason we feel warm. So students, number 4, igloos. So Eskimos make double-walled houses called igloos using the block of ice or the snow. So you can see in figure 4.15. So air enclosed in between the double wall prevent the transmission of heat generated within the igloos, and hence it keep them warm. So students, we all know that Eskimos, they make double wall houses like this. This one is the first wall and this one is the second wall. So air enclosed in between the double wall prevent the transmission of heat. So here in between the two wall, air is enclosed. So you may see this one, you can see. So since the air is trapped between the two wall, therefore it prevents the transmission of heat generated within the igloos, and hence it keep them warm. Okay students. So students, now moving on to the number 5, that is double walls. So the walls and the doors of the refrigerators have 2 layers with an insulating materials in the middle. So students, the walls and the doors of the refrigerator, they have 2 layers, okay, and with an insulating material in the middle. So I'm going to show you this one just for example, okay, so that you understand it properly. So this is the double layered doors and windows of the refrigerator, and they have a insulating material in the middle. So you can see this one is a insulating material, okay. So this material and the air entrapped between the two walls prevent heat from the surrounding from entering the refrigerator. So this insulating material, this will prevent the heat from the surrounding to enter into the refrigerator. And the same is true in case of the double wall cold storage and the double wall ice box. So I hope it is clear to you. Number 6, gunny bags. So slabs of ice are covered with gunny bag. The material used to make gunny bags is a bad conductor of heat and does not allow the heat flow from outside to ice. Moreover, the air filled in between the space of the gunny bag further stop the transmission of heat from outside and prevent the ice from melting. So slabs of ice are covered with gunny bags. So students, the gunny bags are a bad conductor of heat and they does not allow the heat to flow from outside to the ice. And also the air that is filled in between the space of the gunny bag also stops the transmission of heat from outside, and it also prevents the ice from melting. Okay students. So the next one is, too thin woolen blankets are warmer than a thick woolen blanket. Why? So students, you need to answer this after completing the video. And this one also, this MCQs. So we have just completed it and you have to answer this, okay. So now next is the convection. Most of the liquid and gases are bad conductors of heat. So students, most of the liquid and gases are bad conductor of heat. Therefore, they cannot be heated by conduction. So students, as they are bad conductor of heat, they cannot be heated by conduction. Hence, how are they heated? So this is a very big question, how they are heated. So liquid and gases are heated by another process of heating. So that process of heat transfer is called convection. Okay students. So the following activities will help you understand the process of convection. So students, now we are going to understand the process of convection with the help of activity 6. So to show that liquid transfer heat by convection, the things that are needed are a round bottom flask, potassium permanganate, a Bunsen burner, an iron stand, water, wire gauze, a tripod stand and a spatula. So method is, take a round bottom flask and fill it with 2/3 water. So you need to take this round bottom flask and 2/3 of water you have to fill it. Then a small crystal of potassium permanganate is added gently using a spatula at the bottom of this flask. So spatula means chammach. Okay, so with the help of spatula you need to add small crystals of potassium permanganate, and then what happened? The potassium permanganate crystal dissolves slowly and forms a purple color solution. So you can see in the image the potassium permanganate is forming a crystal purple color solution. So heat the water using a Bunsen burner and observe the movement of the purple color solution. So you need to heat it with the Bunsen burner, and then you have to observe the movement of the purple color solution. So you can see certain arrows have been given here, like this, like this, like this, like this. Okay, so you need to observe that. So observation is the purple color solution rises from the bottom of the flask upon the surface of the water. So you can see the purple color solution, it is rising from the bottom of the flask up to the surface of the water. Okay, and then it moves downward near the wall of the flask. So you can see it is moving, it is rising from here to here, and then it is moving from this way to this way. Okay, students. So how does this happen? So now we are going to discuss about the same. So when water at the bottom of the flask near the flame get heated, so when the water near the flask at the bottom get heated, it expand and become lighter. So students, the water expands and it become lighter. So hot water rises upward and carries heat to the surface. So the hot water will rise upward and it will carry the heat to the surface. Okay, students. So the cold water present on the surface, being heavier, moves downward by the side of the flask to take the place of hot rising water toward the source of heat. So students, the cool water that is present on the surface, it will move upward by the side of the flask from this side. Okay, and then it will take the place of hot rising water toward the sources of heat. Okay, so after some time this water also get heated and rises upward, and cold water from the above surface, it will come down again. So in this case, heat is transferred from hot water at the bottom of the flask to the cold water at the top by the actual movement of water itself. So students, I think it's clear to you. In this case, what happened? The heat is transferred from hot water at the bottom of the flask to the cold water which is present in the top by the actual movement of the water itself. This cyclic movement of water is called the convection current. Okay, so in conclusion we find that heat is transferred in liquid by the process of convection. So we can say the process of transfer of heat in a liquid or a gas by the actual movement of the molecules of the liquid or gas is known as convection. So the transfer of heat in liquid or gas by actual movement of the water molecules or gas is known as convection. So compare this method to the case when students come one by one to receive their notebook and go back. So students, I hope you can relate to both the findings. So at this one and the thing that we studied yesterday, that is the teacher used to call all the students one by one and give their notebook and ask them to go back and see. Similarly, convection is like the same process. So students, in liquid and gases, heat is transferred by convection because the molecules are free to move. So I hope you understood. In liquid and gases, heat is transferred by the process of convection, just like this, because the molecules are free to move. But in case of solid, the molecules are not so free. Alright. So molecules of solid are closely packed and their movement is not possible. So convection does not take place in solids. Okay, students. So students, now we are going to understand about activity 7 to show convection current in air. So for that you need to take a rectangular box with a glass font. This is a rectangular box with a glass font and it has two holes on the top, this one and this one. So fix two glass tube in these holes to form chimneys. So this one is a glass tube, these two are the glass tube and they are forming a chimneys. Now put a small lighted candles below one of these chimneys, say B. So small lighted candle have been placed over here. Hold this smoldering paper near the mouth of the chimney. So here it's a smoldering paper which is holded near the mouth of the chimney A. So the meaning of smoldering paper is that it's burning and maybe producing smoke but with no flame. Okay. So you see that the smoke enters the box through chimney A. So it will enter through chimney A and it will come out from chimney B. Okay students. This is because the air above the candle get heated. So the air that is present above the candle is heated, becomes lighter and rises up. So students, this is because the candle get heated and it become lighter and it rises up. Okay. This create a low pressure region. So this will create a low pressure region, and in order to balance this pressure, the air from outside is sucked inside the box through chimney A. Okay. The air is sucked from outside inside the chimney A. So while doing so, air sweeps the smoke of the smoldering paper along with it. So students, this sets up the convection current as shown in the figure 4.17. So this is the convection current in the air. So I hope it is clear to you. Now we are going to understand about the practical applications of the convection current. Number one is the ventilators. So rooms are provided with ventilators and exhaust fan near the top of the side wall. So students, I hope all of you have seen the ventilators and the exhaust fan that are put near the top of the side wall. The air we breathe out is warmer and hence lighter than the air around us. So students, the air we breathe out is warmer and hence it is lighter than the air around us. Okay. It moves up in the room and escapes through the ventilators or the exhaust fan. So this air which we breathe out will move out from the room and it will escape through the ventilators or the exhaust fan. Fresh air enters the room through the windows and the doors. So students, it is cooler and take the place of the warm air rising upward, and thus a convection current is set up. So students, the fresh air will enter inside our room with the help of our windows and room, and then it cools up and take up the place of the warm air, and thus a convection current is set up. Okay. So number two is the chimneys. Chimneys are fitted in the factories to remove the undesirable fumes and smoke. So the smoke, fumes and hot furnace gases are lighter than air. Therefore, they rise up and escape through the chimneys. So students, the smoke, fumes, all these are lighter than the air. Therefore, they rises up and then they escape through the chimneys. So third is the installation of room heaters. So it is desirable to place the room heater at the ground level for effective heating. So students, while installing the room heaters, we should always install it at the ground level for effective heating. The warm air near the heater rises up and the cool air from the other area, it will rush in to fill in the space. Okay. The cool air is then again heated up by the heater and setting up a convection current. Soon all the air inside the room becomes warm. Okay. So I hope it is clear to you. The warm air near the heater will rise up and the cool air from the other area will rush in to fill the space. And the cool air is again heated up by the heater and setting up of a convection current. Soon all the air inside the room becomes warm. So students, all the air conditions are generally fitted at the higher level of the wall of the room. This is done so that the convection current are set up in the air and rooms get cool faster. So this is the reason of putting air conditions at the higher level of the wall of the room. Okay, students. So now we are going to understand about the last one, that is convection current in nature. So students, in coastal areas, breeze generally blows from the sea to the land during the daytime and from the land to the sea during the night time. This sea and the land breeze are actually convection current. So students, in coastal area, the breeze will blow from the sea to the land during daytime and from land to the sea during the night time. So this sea and the land breeze are actually convection current. So sea breeze, land absorb heat faster than the sea. During the daytime, the land heats up more quickly than the sea water. Thus, the air above the land surface being heated expands and rises up. The cooler air above the sea surface blows toward the land to take its place. So students, the land absorbs the heat faster than the sea. So what happens during the daytime? The land will heat up more quickly than the sea water. And then what happens? The air that is above the land surface will heat it up and then it will expand and then gradually it will rise up. Then the cooler air above the sea surface will blow down toward the land and it will take its place. Okay students, so this is a sea breeze and I hope it is clear to you. So we are going to stop over here today, and Monday I think we will complete this chapter. Thank you and have a good day.